Life is hard. I think we can agree on that. It's not fair, it's unpredictable, and it will beat you to the ground. So why would people choose to play a video game whose focus is to punish you for your mistakes? And how could Elden Ring save your life? It's actually simpler than you think. Video game enjoyers are painted in a light by news outlets as lazy, addicted, violent people that don't want to adopt a way of life that includes responsibility or any sort of accomplishment outside of the world of gaming, outlining the fact that gamers choose what is easy instead of what is meaningful. Now, is that completely wrong? No, there are people that fit that description, but that makes up for an unhealthy minority. Funnily enough, the Souls-like genre challenges everything that stereotype stands for. What makes it even more ironic is the fact that this genre is now one of the most popular in the world. But why and how did that happen? Well, I have a theory. Ever since the dawn of time, humans have faced incredibly difficult challenges. They have evolved with time, and now those very same challenges manifest themselves in a different way. For example, up to 8,000 years ago, humans were nomads, scavenging for food everywhere they went, facing hunger, extreme weather conditions, and danger from foreign tribes and wild animals. Now, we suffer from overabundance, relying on dieting and exercise programs to stay in shape. We live in a more connected society, which ironically feels more and more disconnected, and the numbers for people suffering from loneliness are at an all-time high. What both life and Elden Ring seem to have in common is, regardless of the adversity and obstacles that are put before us, the only way to progress is to keep moving forward. Our human nature sets us apart in a way that we derive meaning from difficult circumstances, and even when misery falls upon us, we still find life worth living. But why is that? Failure is a guarantee in life. Whatever it is that you are pursuing, you are more likely to fail than you are to ever succeed. You will fail on that diet you started, you will fail on the test you said you were going to study for, you will fail on getting up early to get work done. So why bother trying? I believe Elden Ring presents us with a perfect answer as to why that is. When you enter the lens between, you enter as a tarnished, quite literally one of the lowest forms of existence in this world. Nothing is supporting you and everything is against you. Failure is a guarantee right from the beginning. With no reason to do so, we move forward into an unknown land in order to achieve what seems like an impossible goal, which the whole world is betting against us on, with only one thing to rely on: our own self-belief. I call this the ugly rock metaphor. Let me tell you a story. 100 people pass by a large rock and pay no attention to it. There's nothing special about it. It's just a rock. It's of no use, it's not remarkable in any way, it's just a rock. Out of those 100 people, one actually stayed behind, intrigued by it. Slowly, and for no apparent reason, this man starts chipping away at the rock. Pebble by pebble, this rock starts to take a different shape. The next day, the same people that used to not pay any attention to it look in admiration of the rock and the man that chipped away at it. What used to be just an ugly rock is now the statue of David, and that man was Michelangelo. The moral of the story is, if you look at yourself in the same way that Michelangelo looked at that rock and truly saw potential in that it was something that could be molded, changed, and transmuted into something beautiful and improved, then you could finally start to work on yourself. That's where I believe Elden Ring and real life have something in common. You could look at your position in the world and easily feel pessimistic about it, especially if you're young. The world seems to be going to shit. There are 2 wars going on, inflation has skyrocketed, your salary is so low that the prospect of ever buying a house seems to be an impossible distance to bridge. Yet, here we are. All of us keep getting up day after day for some unknown reason, almost as if there is something abstract that makes this whole living thing worth it. Elden Ring and Souls games in general have taught me that even if the whole world seems to be against you, you still have the power to make choices that benefit you, choices that keep you moving forward. If you continually bet on yourself despite how many times you fail, the likelihood of the time where you will succeed will eventually come, and will feel all the better for it. I could be wrong, but that's how I interpret the meaning of these games. They are the perfect metaphor of a world where you are truly alone. The odds are stacked against you, but even with all the sadness and suffering that seems to exist, we'd still rather choose to live this human experience despite all of its flaws. When I first found myself interested in the Souls genre, I was not at my best. In life, that is. I was out of shape, I didn't really have any goals, or worse, I had goals, but I just wasn't doing anything in my power to actually work towards making them a reality. I don't know how or who introduced me to it, but I bought Dark Souls 3. And as you might be able to expect, that first boss, which is a tutorial boss by the way, hit me like a wall. I died over and over and over and over again. I felt frustrated and defeated. Never in my life had I experienced a game like this. I wasn't sure if it was for me. After all, I played video games to relax, not to stress myself even more. This wasn't worth my time. But I, much to my surprise, didn't give up. I kept going. I got up once, twice, 3 times, probably upwards of 30 times I died to that boss, until I finally beat him. I can't say I remember, but I probably let out the biggest sigh of relief of my life. Big being an understatement. I could now move past this obstacle and continue the rest of the journey that I did not know was laid out for me. What I didn't know then is that the first boss of this game had been the start of a constant pursuit of meeting difficult circumstances and overcoming them, or at least trying. For some reason, maybe the universe was conspiring in my favor. Finding this franchise at one of the lowest points in my life had sparked something. Where before it had only felt like there was darkness before me, there was now a very dim light that, if it was maintained and cared for, could maybe become a very bright flame. I'm so dramatic. With all jokes aside, life became easier. Hard tasks became less difficult, like attending all of my university classes, going to work, starting to work out, and even socializing. I started to adopt an attitude towards life where I looked at the obstacle put before me, let's say working out for example. I'd mentally look at it and say to myself, this is difficult, it's going to feel difficult, but remember, that's probably why it's worth it. And now, in retrospect, I'm so thankful that for some unknown and abstract reason, my mind told me to keep trying to fight that seemingly insignificant boss. And now, about 8 years later, I'm reaping the benefits of learning to do difficult things. Me exercising has led me to going to the gym 5 times a week consistently, leading me to be in better shape. I stopped smoking, I rarely drink too, I've moved countries, built a new life in a foreign place, which then led me to meet new people, get a better job, a better salary, and one of the most important parts, it also led me to meeting someone I share my life with. I don't want to get all soppy, but she's one of the most encouraging people I have ever been fortunate enough to meet. When she's not getting annoyed at how much time I'm spending on editing and scripting, she's encouraging me to keep going and make more and better videos. My job is going great too, and she's always the first one to say how proud she is of me. Funny to think how one time beating a boss in a video game eventually snowballed into turning a life completely around.